fundamental aspect, of course, of infant nutrition and maternal health that has been practiced for centuries. It provides numerous benefits not only to infants but also to mothers, making it an essential component of early child rearing. So it's so important that we actually touch on this topic and we know what is going on. Now, let's face it, human milk is the best food for the human infants. An analysis of human milk shows it consists of more than 100 separate constituents, of which few of them are available to the bottle-fed infant. So this is a very important topic, and of course we are chatting to Dr. Ludwig, who's going to be sharing also a perspective which is very important, because we do know that there's a mum and a dad, and mothers, we're going to be talking about how important it is and things that perhaps you struggle with during breastfeeding, and also the role of males in order to support their wives during this very important period. Good morning, doctor, and welcome back to Urban Women.
Good morning. It's good to be there. Yeah.
Now, let's firstly start. I did touch on how important it is because of what the human milk provides for the baby, but maybe from a doctor's perspective, shed some light. Why should women actually breastfeed and not bottle feed?
So there's a whole bunch of benefits. I mean, yes, as you've touched on the nutrition, that's number one actually. And yes, they are trying to add these things to bottle and to the bottle feeds, but they're just not getting it right. And I think the most important thing that I usually tell the parents as well, that is in breast milk, that you cannot duplicate or replicate in bottle feeds, is the fact that there are antibodies that help protect infants from illnesses, and the antibodies actually gets tailor made for your infant. So in other words, if there is an illness in the air, and your body picks that up, the mom's body picks that up, it actually gets given, the body produces those antibodies that are needed, and it gets given to the baby in that time to protect the baby as well. So I think that's probably the greatest in terms of what is inside the breast milk. People often think that it's just a monologue, with the breast milk just being given to the child, but it's actually dialogue. The child also, as the child is growing, the breast milk changes from moment to moment and from day to day to give the exact right benefits to the baby at the right time.
Absolutely amazing. And, it shows how beautifully we have been designed in order to support growth, in order to support survival, and all through natural states. So how long should a mum actually breastfeed for? What's the ideal time period?
So the World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. Now, exclusive breastfeeding means no water, no additional feeds, no rooibos tea, none of those stuff. It's only breast milk, because breast milk contains everything that's needed for the developing baby. And then after 6 months, you can slowly start introducing complementary foods while continuing to breastfeed for up to 2 years, or even beyond sometimes.
Now, we're talking about breastfeeding and you mentioned some of that. Are there any advice? I mean, you touched on the benefits. What about the advice? Any advice that you have for moms that are perhaps struggling? I mean, I've come across certain moms that are just dead against it. And I just think, how? Because it's such a beautiful bonding as well, but they just are against it. So perhaps it's some form of struggle. So what about those moms that would like to, but they're struggling? What words of encouragement or support do you have for them?
Yeah, I think it's very important to. I mean, we can name all the normal things like seek support from lactation consultant and so forth, and proper positioning and so on. But I think the big elephant in the room is asking, why is a man talking about breastfeeding?
Why?
And the fact is that the father is so important in breastfeeding and encouraging breastfeeding with the mom as well. I mean, there are numerous studies. I can just mention a few.
Mm-hmm.
There was a study done in 2022 that showed that the father actually will help to start to initiate breastfeeding as well with the baby. In other words, if if the father actually wants the mom to breastfeed and deems it as important, the mom would be at about 95% asthma. That means all moms would be able to start it. And then the most
Wow.
important time frame is 8 weeks, because by 8 weeks usually you've got people that have stopped it or that are not just struggling too much and so on. And by 8 weeks now, with fathers that are encouraging the mothers, you've got a 78% rate of people still breastfeeding. That is compared to 33% with moms that are not breastfeeding if the father was not encouraging it. So
Wow.
I mean the father's role is, and I mean I've got my wife. We've got three boys, and my wife breastfed all of them up to past 1 year of age and so on. And there was a constant. I mean, I encouraged her constantly, and up to this day, she would say it was because of my encouragement that she continued breastfeeding. And then also to share the chores and to help make it comfortable and help with if there's to give her enough help with the meal preparation, things like that, things that you can help at that stage will also help the mom to continue breastfeeding, and that will be more beneficial to your child in the long run.
Wow. This is such a wonderful perspective because often we just think breastfeeding, mothers, and it can get a little bit tiring because there's so many things that a woman and a mother has to do. And especially I think if it's not just the first child, now this is her second or her third child, then we know how extra demanding it gets. And she wants to obviously perhaps give this baby the same opportunity of being breastfed. But you also need to be in a calm state when you're doing that and not all over the place. And I think this is so important to have you, as you've just mentioned, the support and all of those things that the father has to then bring to the table. So urban men, I hope you're listening, and I hope that if you do have a newborn baby, you're taking the advice of Dr. Ludwig. Is it Ludwig or Ludwig?
It's von Ludwig.
Okay, Von Ludwig. Right, there we go. And yeah, as we've just heard, and inshallah, take it from there. It is a beautiful journey, of course, having a newborn baby. And as I say, we as human beings, God has designed us in such amazing ways in order to facilitate and support this little infant that has come into our lives. Precious soul, your take-home message for our urban women listeners and urban men this morning, Doctor.
I think with all the benefits, I would strongly encourage the husbands and the wives to be serious about breastfeeding. I mean, I can just go on and on and on about benefits. It will be more beneficial to the mother's well-being in the long run, and to the baby's well-being, and it will encourage bonding in the family, which I think we all would agree is an excellent benefit. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you so much for that. Always wonderful connecting with you. Thank you for sharing this valuable information. As we connect with you again, Dr. Von Ludwig, have yourself a lovely day and bye for now.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And that is Dr. Willem von Ludwig, all the way in Polokwane, talking to us about a very important topic. So breastfeeding is not just limited to the mothers only. Dads, you have a very important role to play, so make sure that you are playing that. Remember, our beloved Master Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the reward that a woman receives from the time that she falls pregnant until she delivers the child and commences breastfeeding is equal to the person who is guarding the borders of the Islamic State and who has to be ever ready to wage jihad. If this woman dies in the course of this period, she will receive the reward of a martyr. Subhanallah. That is just one beautiful hadith about breastfeeding. So if you have the opportunity, go ahead, breastfeed. Allah Azza wa Jal has given this. It's a great ni'mah. It's a great favor, and all the blessings are there for you. So grab it. You know what we say? Carpe diem. Let's go for a break. It's your Urban Woman Show with me, Razia Rangers. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. Urban Woman, sponsored by Vada Gold Gem Jewelers, 534 Peter Mokaba Ridge, Overport.